The third round is in full swing and the action increases from game to game. This is where the contenders are separated from the pretenders. To give you some skin in the game, DraftKings will be offering free-to-play pools every day of the basketball playoffs, offering players a free shot at up to $10,000 in total prizes. That's up to $10,000 in total prizes up for grabs each day. And the best part is, it's free to play. DraftKings free-to-play pools are easy to enter. Just download the DraftKings app, go to pools, and choose from a wide variety of free contests for an opportunity to win cash prizes. All you have to do is answer a handful of questions about what you think is going to happen during the day's basketball games and track your results throughout the evening. Questions will range from which team will hit the most threes to which team will score first. DraftKings is safe and secure and reliable, so you can deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the top-rated DraftKings app now and use the promo code THPN when you sign up to get your free shot at up to $10,000 in total prizes every day of the basketball playoffs. Head to the DraftKings pool page to get your shot at huge cash prizes. That's promo code THPN for a limited time, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. Please see DraftKings.com for details.
THPN, Tanner Houston penis news. That's what it's all about.
You are now tuned in to the Windy City Benders podcast. This is WCBP.
All right, it's another edition of the WCB podcast, part of the Hockey Podcast Network. It's Jarom. It's Tanner on location. What's up, bud?
Yeah. You know, I just made my way all the way to Florida to go to the Stanley Cup Finals. But half of that is true. I'm in Fort Lauderdale.
If you're listening, yeah, for all you know, he's dedicated. He's recording this at the game right now. He's going to the bathroom to do this real quick. If you're watching,
yeah, it's very quiet.
Yeah, don't really pay attention. So yeah, game
the shitter in the
game one's going on right now in the background, and it's all Tampa right now at the moment. But
2-0.
2-0. We'll just talk about this now. We'll get the final.
Yeah, sure.
So the finals going on right now. It's Tampa, Montreal. Unless you've been living on the rock, you know that. I feel like it's like Tampa versus the world at this point. I think unless you're a Tampa fan or a diehard Maple Leafs fan, you're pulling for Montreal.
Yeah, maybe Boston. Actually, I don't know. Boston probably hates this final too.
Yeah. Battle of the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick. I mean, they're up down 2-0. I'm still sticking with my original prediction. I'm just gonna throw this out here. I was gonna say Canadians in 7 with Carey Price taking the Conn Smythe.
I could see it happening, but I just don't feel like it's gonna happen. But like, it's really good because like I'm hoping the doubt has been against Montreal like the entire playoffs. Like that happens again, and they just end up winning. It'd be great.
Yeah, I'm looking at my phone.
Honestly, you know, Canada deserves a championship every now and then. And then the fact that it's not Toronto would be like absolutely hilarious.
I got a couple cool little facts here. Well, not one's kind of an interesting fact. So the Canadians hold an all-time series record of 9-6 against the defending champion, including a 3-1 mark in the Stanley Cup Final. So They have a winning record when they're playing against the defending Stanley Cup champion. So, hey, maybe
that's cool.
10-6. The last time that they had this kind of meeting was in 2010 conference semifinals when they did a 7-game victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh. 2010.
2010.
Oh, 2010. Okay, yeah. So they I thought you were saying when they were in the finals.
No, so they're 3
against the Stanley Cup.
They're 3-1 in the final. They're 9-6 overall completely.
Oh, okay. Whenever they face the Stanley Cup defending champions. Got it.
Yeah. So that's
cool.
a fact. Oh,
that's of all time. That's it.
All time. That's all time. Yeah.
Weird.
Coming from an original 6, I think it would be higher.
Oh,
I don't like that you're like you're like 10 seconds ahead of me.
Yeah. God damn it. Sorry. But yeah, no, I mean, everybody expected Montreal to make it, you know.
Yeah.
it was weird. There's a photo of like Money Puck with their probabilities of like making the playoffs, like winning the cup and everything. I guess it was a couple of or a week or two into the season when Montreal had a hot start, but they had Montreal with the second highest chance of winning the cup behind Tampa Bay with the highest chances of winning the cup. And I was just like, man, what a prediction.
Yeah, it's unreal. Like, I don't even know if you could even made that case that early on, even with a hot start. Like, I just felt like that was not their division to win at all. Like, it was Toronto's to lose, which ended up being the case, but.
And then the fact that they ended up playing each other in the finals just through the happenstance of like the way they were placed during the playoffs as well. Like,
yeah,
if like Montreal had been any better, maybe they don't even go and face Vegas, you know, like maybe they end up facing Tampa Bay in the conference finals.
Oh man,
I don't know, but it's weird how it just comes together. Also, I don't think this will ever happen again. You get two teams from the traditional like one conference facing off in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Hopefully not. I mean, if it does again, that means something went goddamn haywire in the world.
Or they just really went to a 1-16 like playoff like setup, I guess, you know, like one plays 16 and two plays 15. And
what do you think about that?
Doesn't matter.
Would you be for or against that? Do you like the idea of sticking with traditional conferences and all that?
I like the idea of sticking with traditional conferences just because then it also gives you the idea of like you don't want to trade certain guys to like within your conference because you don't want to face them in the playoffs. You know, like if your team all of a sudden becomes good, but you trade it away like when you're like biggest trade bait guys into like a team and you end up facing off against them and it's like, oh, well, that sucks. I would rather face you in the finals, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and like the rivalries is just a great thing because it's, I mean, I guess you could still keep like divisions and conferences and then just be like the top 16 teams make it in, but I don't know. What happens if you get like the same two teams like a few years in a row that face off in the playoffs against each other, but they're in different conferences, and it's just kind of like they never play each other really during the regular season.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think I've been interested with the last 2 years how they did it, just because, you know, given the situation with Shea Weber, given the situation, just, you know, with COVID and all that, and they made like, I think for the situation, the cards they were dealt, they did a great job. I think the way they handled it has been really entertaining. Last year with the playing round, and then this year with just the free for all, like, you know, make up divisions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, within the division play, like
and the reseeding and all that. What would you think about if you did? I guess that wouldn't make sense. I was gonna say if you do traditional conferences and then when you get to the conference final, then you do a reseed between the four. Just stick with I guess that would really eliminate the need for conferences again. But
yeah, I wish they would just go back to just doing like 1 versus 8 and then 2 versus 7 rather than like having your division be like 2 versus 3. And it's like, well, if you have the top 3 teams in the conference, like you're facing the 2 second and third best teams off against each other right away. It's stupid.
Yeah, I'm so sick of division playoff format. Like, it's just
there was so many like much better like upsets. But then if there weren't upsets, it's like, yeah, cool. Like the better teams moved on and you get the better teams facing the better teams in like later rounds.
You know what makes better rivalries than, you know, forcing teams to play each other all the time is make them play each other during the regular season. And then imagine if they get to the conference finals and they have to play each other. Like that right there, I think it would be, those series would be so more intense instead of throwing them right at each other right away.
Right.
It's the same complaint that we've had a couple of years when Pittsburgh and Washington were like by far the 2 best teams in the league, and they're playing each other second round. like that's just, you're trying to grow grow the sport, grow the game, grow this league, and you're giving the best teams a second round playoff matchup. Like that's ridiculous. That needs to be changed.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't really help Toronto's case either when they're 1, 2, and 3, Tampa, Toronto, and Boston, and then they face Boston like the first round each time, even though they should have been facing somebody like much worse. Maybe they would have made it past the first round, but you never know.
Yeah, well, like you said, and I'm on that bandwagon now. Until they do it, I ain't believing it.
Yeah, until they get past the first round, I'm not gonna ever choose them.
So talking about domination between the Lightning right now. Another like interesting stat I saw after they clinched their conference spot or their punched their ticket. Vasilevsky, that was the 4th consecutive series where he had a clinching game with a shutout.
Yeah, it's insane. That goes. I mean, what that goes back to the Stanley Cup, right?
Yes. So 4, yeah, because that would be round 3. Yeah. So Stanley Cup, first round, second round, third round. That's insane.
That's crazy.
He is so
he's also got 4 shutouts this playoffs too. And I mean his stats, it was his save percentage and goals against average is only like 0.03 and 0.02 better than like Carey Price.
Is this the best goaltending matchup in a cup final? And like, this is probably the best one in a long time.
Yeah, ever since like Broder and Waugh in like the early 2000s.
Belfour Hasek is another one I think of.
That was another really good one too.
Oh man, yeah, it's exciting. I mean, I'm really pulling for Montreal.
Jonathan Quick and Henrik Lundqvist.
Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, Jonathan Quick was absolutely insane during those years, and Lundqvist was also absolutely incredible. So I think that was a pretty goddamn good one. But I mean, you also have Carey Price, who's still fantastic during those years too. But this is probably a couple of the top 2 goalies like ever, or at this time.
But you know what? It's a great cup final in my opinion, which again, PSA, I think we say this every year. It's cup final, Stanley Cup final, not Stanley Cup finals. So many see so many tweets and
I just say whatever.
Finals. Well, no, everybody says that, and then it's like it's the final. It is Stanley Cup final. There's one series going on. It is the final. Just pet peeve.
Yeah. At school, you have finals because there's multiple
classes.
This is one. Yeah.
So yeah,
you got a final for each one.
So we got the David and versus Goliath story. Hopefully, it's a good series. And
yeah, I mean, I just hope it doesn't go only 4.
I think Montreal at least steals one at home.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I think this could go 7. It's really just, can Montreal get on the board?
Oh,
yeah, exactly.
All right.
To be so much distraction.
Yeah. All right. So
Stanley Cup Final, baby.
Stanley Cup Final. Let's go. But so that's going on. There was some sad news that got announced today too. David Pastrnak and his wife or girlfriend.
I assume.
Yeah.
His significant other.
Yeah. Announced that they lost their newborn son. It's absolutely terrible and nothing you want to hear about or wish on anybody. Yeah, so condolences to the Pastrnak and his family.
Yeah, I can't imagine how that feels. But it's really
it's just sad,
shit, man.
Yeah, it's really sad. And then it's like right now at the time we're gonna touch on it a little bit, but I mean, I feel like there's so much shit going on in the NHL when it comes to like that kind of stuff, like off ice stuff right now, and it's just what the fuck is going on? It's terrible, and hopefully things are gonna get better. Can only get better from here.
Yeah.
And I know we didn't have this on, but really quick, Batman had his pre-Stanley Cup, meeting with the media. They announced a couple quick things. The first one is Vegas is hosting the All-Star Game in 2022.
Okay.
Winter Classic is going to officially take place in Minnesota. The one that's supposed to happen last year, St. Louis versus Minnesota.
Oh yeah.
Nashville versus Tampa Bay in a Stadium Series game at a naval base. I believe I saw it correctly. If I was
Why
correct.
is it? I still don't understand why it's Nashville versus Tampa.
I don't know. And then they are planning a Heritage Classic game in March of 2022, but they do not have the teams selected for that yet. They're going to get.
Is Canada going to have fans by then?
Yeah, we'll see. That's another thing I was trying to look really quick while I was trying to, drag my feet on news, but expansion draft too. It's officially announced for Wednesday, July 21st at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Yeah.
It is
Can't wait for that.
It's the first official moment for NHL and ESPN, part of the new TV deal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And they get ESPN too.
In ESPN2. And then the first round of the 2021 NHL draft will be on Friday, July 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2 as well.
The NHL draft, you said?
Yeah. The first round.
Perfect.
Don't know about this the rest of it. Oh, it's here. Now NHL Network will have the rest of the draft on Saturday.
That makes sense.
Buccigross will host live coverage of round 1 alongside Elliot Friedman, Sam Costantino, and Jackie Redmond and Emily Kaplan will also be on there. There's also reports Chris Chelios is joining Mark Messier as part of the team at ESPN for their hockey coverage. So their ESPN's going out big. I know TNT signed Wayne Gretzky.
Nice.
So there's that kind of stuff there.
Can't wait to see Chelios' tan ass face on the television.
Chelios heard what's going on in Chicago.
I love Chelios.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm out of here. Like, I gotta bounce. So yeah, let's get into the elephant in the room right now. Yeah, I don't even know how to start this. Unless you've been living under a rock or you don't follow hockey or anything like that, the Chicago Blackhawks are being sued by an unidentified player for I don't know what the exact phrasing is going to be on their end, or what the phrasing was for covering up or not reporting sexual harassment or sexual assault. I don't know exactly.
Like neglect.
Yeah, neglect. I don't know. Yeah. But basically, so an unidentified player, part of the 2010 team. Timeline, I believe it was a Black Ace player that was called up to be around the team during the playoff run because it was taking place during like the Western Conference Finals. Said that former player, same video coach Brad Aldrich, sexually assaulted him and another player. Some of the details that they have listed was that he would turn on porn and masturbate in front of them, and then he would try to touch them and get them to participate with them. He said the player put in his lawsuit that Aldrich threatened his career and his life if he did not partake in the actions with him, or if he tried to report this. It was considered an open secret among the organization. So we're going to get to in a second. It's kind of very interesting because it's considered an open secret, but there's a lot of people that are denying that they had any aware that this was going on, and which makes it just really weird given their position in the team. Yeah. So basically another time frame here. In 2012, so after 2010, he left the Chicago Blackhawks. He took a position with Miami University as the director of hockey operations for the college. He later would resign from that position under the suspicion of him touching unwanted touch of a male adult. And then the following year, he would be convicted of abuse of a 17-year-old from a hockey team in Michigan, which is a second lawsuit the Hawks are facing because the team gave him a recommendation letter to this team that this player was on, and all that. So they were feeling that they knew because the Blackhawks knew what was going on, that they are at fault for even giving a recommendation, especially to go to, I'm assuming it's either a high school team or like a travel team, because you're thinking 17 years old. It's gonna be young kids around there. I'm sorry, I got a lot of notes here.
Doing good.
So there was one player. So players told former skills coach Paul Vincent about what happened. Paul Vincent asked team management to report to the Chicago Police Department, but his plea was rejected by upper management. After that happened, Vincent then asked the team mental skills coach, James Gary, to follow up with the players and management to see how the players were doing, and then to maybe try to convince management to do what is essentially the right thing and report this to the authorities. Gary reportedly said that this was the player's fault that this happened to him. He put the blame on the players. And then recently, when he was reached out for comment about this, he denies that he had any knowledge of any of this happening. Vincent would then go on, Paul Vincent would go on and say that he had a meeting with McDonough, Bowman, I can't never pronounce this guy's last name, Al Mc, McLSAAC.
McLeese?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And Gary, where he again then plead and asked the team to report this to authorities, but then again was denied. Some other names that are key in this, which is going to really come down to what happens and how deep this really goes, is Canadians general manager Mark Bergevin, who at the time was the Blackhawks director of player personnel. He claims that he was unaware of any of this going on, that he was not involved in this meeting. He never knew that this was going on, which is very interesting considering what his position was as the director of player personnel. You think something like this is going on amongst the players and coaching staff that he would know. Other names that were, questions about what they knew about. Yeah, God damn it. It's always the guys with the fucking hardest names for me. GM of the Jets right now. Kevin.
Sheldayoff.
Yes, he was the assistant GM at the time.
Mm-hmm.
When reached out for comment, that the Winnipeg PR team just said to refer to the Blackhawks regarding any questions. And then there was also Coach Q. There was not a return for comment among the Panthers PR staff. So you don't really know exactly what they knew, how much they knew, to what extent they
who knew what.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of the gist of it there. So then today, in a memo sent to the team employees, Hawks, he's the CEO now. Danny
Wirtz.
Yeah. Said that they are retaining a federal prosecutor to conduct an independent review of the allegations. The group that they have retained has zero interaction with the Blackhawks. There's zero ties. They have nothing to do with the Blackhawks, never worked with the Blackhawks, never did anything like that. And they have direct orders to follow any facts despite where they may lead, good or bad, for the Hawks. When asked about this during his presser, Gary Bettman said that there's going to be no punishment as of now, and that they are waiting for this independent investigation to wrap up before they make any more comments about this, and to see what any possible punishment that the Blackhawks could face. A little note before I let you kind of give your 2 cents on this. What's very interesting, and this really kind of says about team management for the Blackhawks at this time, and technically still now, because it's still some of the same guys in charge, is that this is all happening the same year of the Akeem Alou, Bill Peters stuff in Rockford. So it kind of all falls under the same umbrella. And it just makes you really ask what the hell was going on back in 2010. How long did this go on? Stuff like this. Why was this not addressed sooner? Why was this just brought up now because of a lawsuit? Who truly knows? There's some players. I'm one player that said he heard rumblings of it, but it's Danny Carcillo. He said that he heard stuff about this when he was playing in Philadelphia and he was playing against the Hawks in the Cup Final in 2010. But then again, I really don't believe what he says ever. I can't really take what he says with all too seriously. But yeah, so that's kind of a quick basis outline of what's going on with this. Your initial thoughts about everything.
I mean, I think absolutely it doesn't matter who's involved. Like, as soon as we find out anything, they should all be eliminated from the organization.
Yes.
Like Danny Wirtz, I'm assuming he doesn't have anything to do with it because he's just gotten into that position recently. But like, as soon as he no, I know I didn't want to celebrate for the Montreal goal right now.
Yeah, sorry.
As soon as he like gets any news about this and they confirm everything and everything is like, with whatever is reported from the independent investigator, I think those people need to be taken out, absolutely removed from everything Blackhawks, like in their future, in their past, everything needs to be removed from them. Like, it does not matter. It's insane and it's unacceptable. Like how anybody could think that brushing something as serious as that under the rug and moving on with a team just because like they're winning Stanley Cup championships, like how they could be okay with that trade-off is fucking insane to me. Like nothing's more important than people's like fucking safety.
Yeah. You whoever this player is, I'm going to assume that this maybe derailed this guy's career, that he maybe never, like we said, we can only assume that kind of stuff because when you're suing for this type of stuff, that's usually what's going on is like you lost wages and, and your livelihood was ruined because of what was going on when there was direct threats made by Aldrich to the players about, oh, if you talk about this or if you don't do this, XYZ is going to happen.
And with what you mentioned before too, is all the same time as like the Akeem Alou things. It's like there's clearly something going on in this organization at that time that is completely wrong, and everybody that's tied to it needs to get the fuck out.
Yeah. And
like, if you are going to be a part of the front office of this organization and pretend, I'm assuming you literally have to be blind and deaf in order not to hear about either two of these pieces of information going on in the organization. You like get out. Like this nobody wants to be a fan of this.
This is
insane.
If Vincent can prove about this meeting that he had with all those upper management people, that right there. I mean, I know Jonathan McDonough's gone. Gary's not on the team, not a coach anymore. But Bowman, I mean, he's got to go. I mean, and that's not even me being biased about my opinion of Bowman and the job he does. If he is if he has hid this and he has protected this for a guy that I don't even think has been in this or was in that organization long, like I think like that's ridiculous. And then if he's the one, whoever's the one that wrote the letter of recommendation, he sent this guy to kids.
Yeah,
where he then did this again to kids 17 years old at the time. That is still a child. Like that is still a kid who's being taken advantage of. And I don't know how any kind of man could sit there and look in a mirror and not feel any remorse or any pain about what you caused these people.
Yeah. Like how you can look at this as being like, yeah, it seems like an okay situation. Like it's fucking insane. Honestly, like if they're involved in the Stanley Cups, like take their name off the fucking cup if it's on it. Like do one of those, do a cross out. Like,
well, that's
those people don't belong in NHL history. They don't belong in Blackhawks history. They don't belong in any kind of part of this.
Yeah, that was another thing that I heard too, because the first time that I really saw, like, there's been articles here and there about this, but the first time that I saw it in like podcast form, like somebody really talking about it, was the Steve Dangle podcast. Adam Weil brought this all up, and he was in that there was at one point that they asked, because Aldrich's name's on the 2010 Cup.
Yeah.
So there was a question if they should remove it, and that was denied.
Yeah.
They told him to leave it.
Who told him to leave it?
Oh, whoever makes that decision within the Blackhawks.
The Blackhawks make that decision?
That's from what I've took from what they were talking about, Adam Weil was talking about, that it was whoever was in charge of making that decision said to leave
Nope.
it.
That person needs to be removed from the cup too. If they're on it, I
That
don't know who it is, but you don't protect rapists or pedophiles and sexual assault people, like
predators.
sexual predators. That's the word I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of.
like this
You don't protect sexual predators. That's fucking insane.
and it's so fucking heartbreaking too. Just like obviously from the point of when I'm going to say I'm talking from a fan point of view, it is so heartbreaking that growing up loving this team, you know, seeing this team do so many good things and, you know, our lives are this team, you know, following this team and all that, our hockey lives, it's Blackhawks hockey. And to see essentially these guys letting us down. Like it's so hard. Like I've seen people like, how do you justify being a Blackhawks fan during all this? And it's like, you know what? I can say, you know what? It's not that's not the part of it that I'm a fan of. It's the team,
Right.
the players, and all that.
It's the players.
But at the same time, it's the environment that it's like the Chicago Blackhawks environment. It's a toxic environment right now. And you know what? I'm sorry. I don't believe if they say that things have changed and all that kind of stuff. I don't believe that because if things have changed, this would have been addressed sooner. I think we would have heard about this sooner. And the fact that the only reason we've heard anything about this from the Hawks is because somebody leaked the memo that was sent into like an internal memo.
Right.
The Blackhawks have not come out and acknowledged any of this.
Transparency, man. That's the thing that they came out with over the offseason. I mean, I understand why they wouldn't want to be transparent about this. They look like terrible. They look like shit. Like they haven't done anything until yesterday or today, and actually got independent investigators for it. Like it's just been information after information coming out, like leaking out about like all these different things that this fucking guy did. And it's just worse and worse and worse. And the Blackhawks haven't responded until recently.
Don't you think that makes it even worse though, too? The Blackhawks, I mean, staying quiet, yeah, is good because then you can't, you know, dig yourself a deeper hole. But at the same time, silence is very loud. And not even coming out and saying this is going on since May that this lawsuit came to light. Who knows when the lawsuit was actually filed? And you're not at once could come out and say, we acknowledge this is what's going on. We don't have any comment this time because we need to look into it. We need to, even that, it's just saying we need to investigate and we need to find facts because like, you know what? Yeah. Don't say anything, dig yourself a bigger hole than you're already in, but you have to say something. You can't stay quiet. You can't ignore this. And the fact too, that it's not being talked about, like it's now being talked about in Chicago media, like in the last 24 hours, it's maybe started picking up speed in the media. This is not being talked about by anybody except for the podcast world and like these writers on Athletic. I mean, Scott Powers and Mark Lazarus wrote about it, but they're behind a paywall. And it's like, if you don't already pay for it, who's going to take the time to read out for it? This stuff needs to be talked about and people need to know what's going on. And you have to have the uncomfortable conversation of that. These guys are bad. They are not good people. They handled this poorly 100%. And you know what? They put the future of the Hawks in jeopardy because of it.
Yeah.
I think the Coyotes for breaking NHL draft rules with the combine and stuff, like rules like that, losing their first round pick was bad. Something like this comes out where they can prove that the Hawks had involvement about this. This is going to be terrible.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of punishment the NHL can put down on the Hawks.
Is
it losing draft picks kind of a thing, or is it, I don't know, like what could it be?
You can't even play hypothetical because this is such a weird situation. This is the first time something like this has come to light. And I say it like that because I'm confident that shit like this has happened through every team. Like maybe not to this level, but there are cover-ups among teams in the NHL. I think like teams do something.
I don't think we need to like go that far. As
No, but I'm
like,
just saying
you're
though.
confident in like that. I'm sure like shit happens everywhere, and it's really fucking shitty where it's happening right now.
Yeah, and so
But
I
that's
shouldn't
not
say
like
that's
that's not like a look at the brighter side. It's probably
no,
happened
no,
in
no,
other
no, no.
places, kind of
That's
thing.
not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like it's just kind of showing the problem with the NHL. I think in general is that stuff like this happens, and there's no check and balance system in place. All these teams are put to themselves to monitor themselves
Yeah.
and report to themselves and discipline themselves.
Yeah. Like if there was maybe like if instead of being like when the player addressed it towards like the skills coach and things like that, if there was somewhere within the NHL where it's like not within the organization to like police itself, but you can tell
And
like it's like an HR. I guess I don't know if it's like the NHLPA, but if it was like some other organization that polices the teams, like just the NHL, I guess. But I don't know, like if they had
it's
anything like
exactly.
that
I
in
think it's
2010.
exactly like an NHL. I think the NHL needs to set up like almost it needs to have like an HR, their own HR thing, because every other industry, every other profession, you have an HR department. Something bad happens, you go to HR. They
Yeah.
handle
Is
it.
it not the NHLPA is a part of that though? Like it's the Players Association. Like
It's
aren't they
protecting
looking out for the players? Like
players. Yeah. So I mean, that possibly could have been like this though too, but then it's like you got the coaches, management, all that. They have no one that they report to and all that kind of stuff, or no one that disciplines them and all. It's. I think the NHLPA, what the NHLPA wouldn't fall into this category. Yeah, they probably could have filed something on behalf of the player and all that kind of stuff. But I think when you're looking at overall team discipline, team checks and balances and all that kind of stuff, you need an outside party. And
yeah.
I think that's also I think it was good on the Hawks for initiating this internal investigation, but I think that probably should have came from the NHL.
Yeah. I mean, NHL is gonna be a part of it
Yeah,
because it's subpoenas they said that subpoenas had gone out for the NHL, the NHLPA, what was it, University of Notre Dame, like Miami University. I think there was one more. No, that was it. Which is weird. I feel like there's more things that could be like said about that, but the subpoenas are for all documents, emails, and records related to Brad Aldrich.
which is gonna be interesting to see what they find. I'm really
Yeah.
curious what's still around, and I mean, I hope there's answers, and I hope that. And it's hard to say too, because usually you're like, oh, I hope that it's not as bad as people say, it's coming off and all that. But it's like at this point, I think the only thing you can really like look forward to and trying to be like positive about is that this player gets justice that he deserves.
Yeah.
And that if there's the people that were involved with this are held accountable, and
Yeah.
so be it.
And I mean, getting removed from the organization is like number one for me. Like,
yeah, 100%.
They need to cut ties with whoever's involved and like get as far away as possible from it. Like clearly something needs to change within the organization if that's what's going on.
In 2 years, that's in 1 year, two major issues that should have been handled and taken care of right away by upper management that did not. And that right there is staggering. That is absolutely unreal that is the case, and how often that it's one organization that has two major things like that. And it's really good. I think it really starts kind of with Bowman. I think, yeah, he's only now as assistant, like has a huge role on it and all that kind of stuff, like vice president role and all that. But what kind of influence did he have back then? What did he step up? Did he try to do anything like that? I think that's where it starts, considering.
Well,
like,
how much did he even know back then too?
Exactly.
Like you never know.
Like
I don't think without knowing who knows what, I'm not going to say like it's anybody's fault because you never know who, like we just said, you never know who know what. So it's hard to just pinpoint like anybody within the front office without just being like it's the whole front office though.
Yeah, I think it starts with those guys that were in that meeting, and it kind of like trees out from there, kind of like goes off like, okay, well, this guy was in the meeting, who under him knew, like, and all that kind of, it's slowly like there. So another thing I've been kind of seeing on social media, and I kind of want to get your opinion on that. There's two things. One, people are asking that should Kane, Keith, Siebes, Taves, Sharp, all those guys be held to responsible as well for not speaking out. If this is truly a known fact, it was an open secret, and these players knew, do they have any responsibility to step up, and are they at fault for not stepping up? And before you jump, my initial thing is, people got to remember at 2010, those guys were young. A lot of those guys were really young, first, second year in the league, Taves, Kane, and all that kind of stuff. And when you're that young and coming into the league, and have a huge future in the league, those guys did, you don't want to rock the boat. And I'm sure they wish I could have said something, but I think, like, in that position, you can't put that on a rookie, a sophomore, and all that kind of stuff to fight an organization as big as the Blackhawks.
I had seen somewhere that like the players that knew about it had been told by one of the, like, I thought it was the skills coach or something, that it was being handled, and they were under the like the players that knew were under the influence that like it was being worked out within the organization, and not that it was being suppressed.
So yeah, they
were under the impression that like things were going on, and it was like, even though it wasn't like announced or anything to like anybody, but like things were going on, like the team was looking at like doing its own investigation. And it's like, what do you do at that point? Do you step up and say like, hey, like this is wrong? And then they just tell you like it's being handled, and you're like, okay, well, you believe your employer, like, like it's being handled.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think it's fair to put that. Yeah, it's not fair to put that blame on the players.
I mean, if that's all true, that's the thing though, too.
Yeah.
Like, if it's completely false, then I don't know. Like, do they even know anything? Like, how much do they know? It's all that kind of a situation. You can't just be like, everybody knew it, like exactly what was going on. They're completely at fault for not saying anything. Well, I mean, maybe they didn't. It's like,
yeah,
who knows?
Could be through the grapevine type of thing. You hear open secret, you just hear rumblings of what's going on. So it's like you can't really go and make like actions based on that, on rumors and all that kind of stuff too. So I mean, I totally don't see this being on the players. Does this taint the dynasty at all? Does it taint what the
I still think the dynasty belongs to the players and not like the front office or anything like that. So I think, I mean, that it's the core, like those guys were the reason there was a dynasty in the first place. So I don't think so. I just think it just changed the team as a whole. Like, not the fact that they played really well. It's not like they were cheating and like that's why they became a dynasty. It's kind of like they were doing something much shittier and didn't affect them on the ice, I guess. I don't know. It's very disappointing.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's an organizational thing, and then I don't know. We tried to we weren't avoiding this topic. We wanted to talk about. We wanted more facts to come out and have and be able to make a smart and right judgment about what was going on and inform listeners of what was going on. And
right, not like a snap decision.
And even knowing all this, there's still not a lot of information out there. And I mean, and we went through a lot of stuff, and there's still not enough to go out there. And and it's just kind of hard to react. It's kind of I'm speechless a little bit, because it's like I said, you don't expect an organization like the Blackhawks with the legacy they have and how long they've been around that they wouldn't take stuff like this seriously. You like to think the best in everybody, whether it's or people you look up to, and it's just disappointing that this has been such a letdown of what was such an amazing team. And as a fan of this organization, and will still be a fan, I'm still a fan of this organization. I will still follow this team. I love this team, but it sucks that now we're put in a position where we have to justify our fandom and why we still follow this team, still care for this team, because at the end of the day, I'm on the same page as everybody else. I want answers. I want whoever is involved with this to be held accountable. If that means firings, if that means, lawsuits, if that means the Hawks get punished for something, whether it's like draft picks or something like that, so be it. All that matters that this player and players, because there's a second player involved too, get the justice they deserve, and they get some peace of mind that they were finally heard. And it sucks that it's taken 11 years for this to be heard. And Vincent, this former skills coach, has held on to this for 11 years. And he said it was eating away with him. And when it comes time to it, that he will be there to testify on behalf of this player. And he will say what needs to be done, because this guy deserves it. He deserves the justice, and he deserves peace of mind and almost closure that this is being taken care of.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. I'm hoping that this has been the worst of it, and nothing else like terrible comes out, especially from this era of the Blackhawks, because apparently they're fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what this investigation is going to show and what more skeletons they're going to dig up. Hopefully not. Hopefully this is it. It's a one and done thing. But when there's two major events like that, you got to be worried that there's more coming, that there is more stuff that hasn't been discovered yet, and that it's going to see who's going to come out of the woodworks now, like that they're going to be like, all right, well, now if you're investigating this and, you're finally giving these players, voices and all that, who knows what somebody dealt with, and they might come out and say, this is what I experienced. This is why this person needs to go. And I think I can speak for both of us that I think unless something major comes out, I don't think we're going to touch on this until it's solved.
Right.
I again want to state wholeheartedly that we're not avoiding this because, we're homers, that we want to believe in the Blackhawks, and, blindly follow them. We want justice. We want the people that did wrong to be held accountable for what they did, and, the positions that they put these players in, and we want justice. And, following this team and still reporting, being a Hawks podcast, that's not going to change my opinion on the team. But I think it's just going to kind of show that, people are sick of this bullshit. And if you did something wrong, you need to be held accountable for it. And that goes to,
no matter who you are, no matter how good you were too, like you can't just fucking do shit like this.
Do you have anything else you want to say about it before we move on?
No.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Actually, it was just we're not going to really mention anything because I don't want to be somebody to kind of just spit things off the cuff without knowing all the information. And there's only been so much that's been let out, so that's why again, we'll touch on it when there's more information out there, like concrete things. Yeah. Which I'm sure we won't even, if it's bad, guess what? We probably didn't fucking hear about it for a while because the Hawks won't say anything about it. If it's good information, they'll say it as soon as possible to make themselves try and look better. So great.
I think it's going to be at least a year probably before we hear anything. I think there's so much that this investigation is going to have to go through. And you're talking 11 years worth of stuff and all that kind of stuff. Then you have to reach out. It's not even because it's past the Blackhawks. It's Miami University. It's whatever this team or organization that he was a part of in Michigan. They need to come out and get their information there and all that. There's so much that's going to take. But yeah. And at the end of the day too, we're, as much as we'd like to consider ourselves a media outlet and all that kind of stuff, because we do our best to do our research and try to find out information as much as we possibly can. At the end of the day, we are just fans that like to talk Blackhawks. Everything that we talk about is what we find in the media by doing our research and stuff like that. We don't have any inside information. We don't have any inside connections. So
just a stat guy, because I like looking at stats.
Yeah.
This aren't the kind of stats I like to look at.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like we can only really try to put, I guess, what I think what our role in this is going to be is just that we're going to try to find what we can and put it into phrasing and words and understanding that, you know, the common fan would understand. I kind of like a tagline that's been for the show is like a common podcast for, you know, done by the common fan for the common fan. And I think that that's all we can do is really like with that. And with that, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I will be ready to talk about it when more comes out. I have no problem if you have questions on social media, kind of want to know, you know, maybe our opinion of something else that we didn't address on this. Yeah, we'll touch on it like that way. But unless something major happens, I think this is all we're going to talk about them for now with this situation.
Yeah. I mean, if you want somebody to solve these issues, Jack Eichel's on the trade block. I mean, you get Jack Eichel here. he's gonna solve all the problems.
Which Jack Eichel and Seth Jones, I keep is going to be the trade deadline.
I was seeing some things. Speaking of Jack Eichel, though, Vegas is actually kicking the tires on Jack Eichel. What? I don't know how they'd make that work.
How?
I don't know, but I saw it recently.
Vegas is to the Yankees.
Their GM was like seeing what the price for Jack Eichel was from them.
Pacioretty.
Like, oh my god. Yeah, I mean, if I'm Vegas, like I'm already Western Conference Final ready. Like, and if all you had to do is get rid of like one of your top guys, if you had Mark Stone and fucking Jack Eichel on the line instead of Mark Stone and Pacioretty and whatever, like, goddamn. That'd be insane.
When did you become such a Jack Eichel guy?
As soon as he became available on the trade block.
Because man, you talked this guy up so much, and I'm just like, I can't remember when was the last time you said something good about Jack Eichel. But then suddenly the Blackhawks get put in.
It's like this. It's like the same thing with like Dylan Strome before he was a Blackhawk. Where like, he's never gonna be shit. It's like, oh, he's Blackhawk. Oh man, he's fucking sick. And then now it's like he's not shit.
Jack Eichel to Vegas for Pacioretty, Marc-Andre.
Oh yeah, Marc-Andre involved.
First round pick and something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see if Marc-Andre stays in Vegas.
Yeah, true. They don't have much cap room to go with two goalies going forward still.
Yeah, $7 million for one more year for Marc-Andre, and then $5 million per year for 4 years for Robin Lehner.
Yeah.
Do they have, oh my god, can you imagine Vegas leaves Marc-Andre on its like unprotected and he gets picked up by Seattle?
That'd be pretty cool. Oh, cool. I just realized that Cap Friendly added a acquired column to their players. And it shows how they acquired the player. So on Vegas, it says like trade, expansion, trade, expansion, and then signed for it. That's really neat.
Oh, awesome. Yeah.
That's fucking so cool. Because now if like you're ever like in the middle of the season, you're like, when the fuck did they get this guy? You can just see how they acquire. You click on acquired and then it show like, or you click on where it says acquired and it brings up their transaction history. That's fucking awesome. Oh my god, they're so smart.
All right, I'm gonna correct myself. I forgot.
Oh shit.
Vegas isn't a part of the expansion draft.
Yeah, they're not.
I forgot about that.
That's right. I mean, the NHL agreed to it, but they also don't get a piece of the Seattle buy-in pie like every other team does.
Did you see the text I sent in our group chat of the meme of it was a screenshot of a Vegas fan tweet saying, you guys have no idea how hard it is to be a Vegas Knight fan after they got out. And then it's a picture of Michael Scott going to Toby going, I'll kill you. And oh my God, it's Edmonton, Toronto, and Buffalo.
That's really funny.
Yeah, last thing I want to talk about while we're still on like somber, or good news.
Yeah, okay.
Pat Foley, quote unquote, is stepping down from the Chicago Blackhawks after the season. It's a very weird. Their terminology never said that he's retiring. They didn't say all that kind of stuff. There's rumors that he's being forced out, that it was kind of the last straw for the Hawks was the comment last year or at the end of the season when he was talking about what the players had to go through for quarantine and all that kind of stuff, and how if he had to do that, put a bullet in his head and that kind of
stuff. Oh my God.
They said that.
I don't even think I heard that one.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Dude, it was the middle of a game. It was like, I think one of the last games was against Carolina, and he's like going through, the players have to do this, they have to do this, this, and this. Good for them, because if I had to do that, I'd put a bullet in my head. He said it
hilarious
live on air. And so they were saying that's the end of the straw.
The end of the straw. It's the last straw.
Jesus.
Funny.
Yeah, so it's really weird. It sucks. I'm gonna miss Foley behind it. I mean, I love Pat Foley. I thought top 5 announcers of all time, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's in the Broadcast Hall of Fame. Dude's a legend.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and
it's gonna be weird to not have him and Edzo together.
Yeah.
Also, is Eddie doing anything with ESPN?
I haven't heard anything with him. I think he signed a deal with TNT. I think
did we talk about that? Where he still has he's still able to do the horse races or whatever?
Yeah,
with
still
NBC,
but still allowed to do the horse racing stuff with NBC. So, but I don't know. I haven't actually heard anything what's his role? Is he still going to be part of the Hawks? Is he still doing national stuff? What's he doing? I'm curious if they're going to go for a whole new setup on TV.
Hey, I'm available.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
But
I'll be real good. I don't need to look up any stats during the game. Nobody has to tell me anything. I already know them. I what is it? A good 65% of the time, somebody will score. I'm like, yeah, that's their 5th goal of the season. It's with his 5th goal of the season. I'm like, fucking already knew that, man. Don't worry about it.
Tanner's a Rain Man.
Yeah. It's just, I see numbers. It's just fucking great.
Just a hockey DB stats are floating around your head.
Yeah. Cap friendly as well. He's only making this much money for this many more years.
Oh man. So yeah, it's gonna be very, with everything with going on with the investigation and now Pat Foley leaving, could be a really different look Blackhawks in a year or two. And it's gonna be very interesting.
Jack Eichel could be on the team.
Oh my God.
Dude, I hear the new front office is really high on Jack Eichel. So
who are they gonna I don't know. I have no idea. I'm out of word. I'm speechless. I have no more things to reply to you when you push Jack Eichel to the Hawks.
Dude, I'm going to, what is it? I don't know. I'm just gonna implant it into your head and make it seem like a really good idea, because it is. I'm gonna gaslight you into thinking that it was your idea that we should get Jack Eichel. That's what I'm gonna end up doing.
Deception it. Yeah. I'm sneaking in my dreams, plant the idea.
I'm gonna fucking QAnon you.
Oh, God, Jesus. You gotta come up with a bet that Jack Eichel doesn't end up on the Hawks.
Dude, he's gonna end up on the Hawks. It's gonna be great. The Hawks are gonna come out with a steal of a trade. Jack Eichel, 50% retained.
I saw a tweet. This girl, it's a girl tweeting her dad is trolling her so bad because she's a huge Kirby Dach fan, and after he got rumored to be part of the package going for Jack Eichel, the dad ordered a Kirby Dach player shirt from Buffalo. So it says, this is K Dach 77 on the back, and
I'd say K Dach
because I don't think you could put active players' names on jerseys.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so like I was trying for the longest time.
No way, because there was somebody with a Stamkos like Tampa Bay jersey before.
If you buy through NHL, you can't.
Oh, not Tampa Bay. Sorry, Toronto.
You can't do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. You could probably do it at a Gunzo's. You
Yeah.
can probably have them do
Because
whatever name you want.
Because I tried doing a Kessel Boston jersey just because I wanted a jersey for all of Kessel's teams.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't let me do it. I'm like, he played for the team. Why can't I do that? But it's like any active player, unless they're currently on that team, you can't do it for. Like you can't make stuff.
Is it because like jersey sales go like towards the player? So like, is it maybe towards the player, towards the team or something?
Maybe.
And so like, what does Boston get some and Kessel get some?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of players and jersey sales, after we talked about that one guy, Carl Nassib, his jersey was, I don't know if it still is, but like his jersey was the number one in the NFL for the next few days after that being like, I was like, that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like, what a crazy amount of support for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's really glad to hear. I'm very curious to see though, like, yeah, we were kind of talked about. I'm very curious what the domino effect's going to be. Are we going to start seeing more of that? Are we going to start hearing more stories, more players coming out? How's he going to be treated by other teams and other fans during the season and all that kind of stuff? So yeah, but it's still good for him. I don't have any, we have a bunch of top fives we can do, but I'm not going to do one this week. This episode.
No, that's okay.
Not gonna, hasn't really been like it's been a good talk, but not like the best of topics. So kind of talked about Pasta's kid dying. We talked about the salt cover. We talked about Pat Foley leaving. So yeah, I got nothing else. If you want to kind of wrap this up now, unless you got something.
Let's go Montreal.
Yeah, go Montreal.
I want game 7.
Yeah, push as long as possible. Let's go. I want the shortest time.
This could be the last 7, or I mean, it's definitely the last 7 games, but it could be the last 4 to 7. It is the last 4 to 7 games on NBC. See you later. I don't know why they brought out this dumb fucking score bug, but which makes it look like they're playing on a baseball diamond. But okay.
Are they getting? Are they not getting NBC because of that? You think? Do you think they're not putting any of the games on NBC because they're pissed?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, but
who cares?
Yeah,
we get to watch hockey.
Yeah, that's all that matters. It is 3-1 as of recording right now. Yeah, hopefully we'll see a nice little comeback. If not, hopefully. I don't know when we're recording that. The schedule's gonna be a little bit weird with 4th of July coming up.
Yeah.
So it might be a Wednesday episode again next, or Tuesday, Wednesday episode next week. I'm not sure. Maybe we could sneak one in before, have a little America theme or something. I don't know, but yeah. So you got anything else?
No.
No. All right. So as always, make sure to follow us on social media at WCB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to the show on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Leave some 5-star reviews for us. Tell us what you love about us. Tell us what you hate about us, but still give us 5 stars when you do it. Check out our partner network, the Hockey Podcast Network. Been talking with a lot of guys, especially at the Columbus podcast, about Seth Jones coming to Chicago and all that kind of stuff. And it's been really cool talking with some of the other teams and all that. We got to maybe we'll get some of them on the show and talk about other organizations and all that. DraftKings promo code THPN. If you're new, you get some awesome offers. If you use it and you're still an existing customer, you get some more exclusive offers, even using the THPN again.
THPN, Tanner Houston Penis News. That's what it's all about.
Oh my!
I'll never forget it now.
God, that's a good one. Tanner, you want to name this one, or do you want me to go for it?
Yeah, it's Tanner Houston Penis News. No, I'm just kidding. No. Organizational issues is what I would say. But what are you thinking?
I was either going to call it the elephant in the room, but I like organizational.
Oh yeah, that works.
Elephant in the room.
Yeah,
All right.
that's a good one.
Yes, episode 142. We will
Elephant in the room.
Yeah, the elephant room. We'll check you out on the next one.
All right. See you later, boys. Love you. Bye.